There was a really good study on this where they randomly allocated children to two groups. One got sugary fruit juice and the other got just was sugar-free but sweetened with sweeteners. And it's interesting that the kids allowed to drink the sugar-free sweetened drinks ended up the fatter of the two groups. And that was the study that impressed me the most. I agree with Jen. If you need sweeteners while you're transitioning off sugar, then fair enough. But you should, a bit like using methadone, you should aim to come off it in the end.
Yeah, just to jump in there briefly, Steve, before you jump on that, I think the type of sweetener is important also. So what they can do is cause a sulfatic response. So despite not consuming any sugar at all, they give the signal to the brain that sugar is coming. And in some people, it is a small percentage, but it can elicit an insulin response. I think they're a segue, but we shouldn't rely too heavily on them. And when we remove these, this is when all of those cravings and things go away. And this is when people see. And I believe that this is why many become carnivore ultimately, because vegetables, for me, as I was on my journey, my transition from low carb to keto into carnivore, vegetables tasted awfully sweet. And prior to that, they'd never tasted sweet at all.
Milk contains the sweetness in nuts, and you really can. Yeah.
And the milk, coming back to a point you made earlier, the casomorphine, the highly addictive compound in milk and cheese, and this is why sort of dairy products can be an issue. And even A2, which is arguably better, but even that can cause intestinal permeability. So, but again, it's this gravitation, isn't it, in regards to where you are on your journey, I think.
Yeah, and how you respond.
You just mentioned casomorphines, but there was a wonderful study using cheese to treat diarrhea. And the reason it works is because it turns into morphine-like substances, particularly for some people. And I have known of clinical cases of the most terrible constipation imaginable just caused by dairy because of its ability to turn into morphine-like substances, which also make it potentially addictive as well.
Most people don't realise that carbs are sugar. They think sweets, puddings, cereals are all okay. They don't realise that they could be problematic.
I didn't really realise that for the first 25 years as a GP. And I advised people to avoid biscuits and cakes. And then it was a patient who pointed out that I was an idiot and maybe I wasn't even medically qualified because bread is sugar. And this led to me developing the teaspoon of sugar equivalent charts, which are on the PHC. So the headline figure would be 150 grams of boiled rice is equivalent to 10 teaspoons of sugar. So your body can't really tell whether it had 10 teaspoons of sugar or 150 grams of boiled rice, or a banana is about 6 teaspoons of sugar. A single slice of brown bread is about 3 teaspoons of sugar. So on the PHC, in fact, if you just Google PHC in capitals, Unwin and sugar, you'll see there are 7 infographics. And the hot news is they're now in 28 different languages. They've been translated 28 times. A lot of new Indian languages are there. And I think those infographics are very useful for people wondering about the effect of their dietary choices.